Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
You yell shark, we've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Yeah, they're all gonna die.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Adolf, and I have with me Classic Jake.
Howdy, folks.
And today we're reviewing a classic movie, Jaws 3D, but 1975 edition. Don't get this confused with the Jaws 3D that came out in 1983. Totally different movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why Universal's referring to it as Jaws in 3D.
But it's understandable when people might get confused. Before we really get into this review, I do want to say we have a little bit of spoilers. It's a 50-year-old movie, or almost 50-year-old. So we try not to spoil the whole movie, but there's a little bit there. So I just want to give that heads up. If you've never seen Jaws, just go watch it, period. So just want to give you a heads up. So, Jake, you wrote the review. I did watch it in 3D. I'll talk about it. So, Jake, how was the 3D aspect of the original Jaws?
Okay, this was a decent conversion. I mean, the theater I saw it in their presentation was not very good. So, but I still thought the conversion was good. I really thought this was good 3D. A conversion does not look as good as something actually shot in 3D.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Jaws 3 was actually shot in 3D. I actually saw it in the theaters. Even with the problems the movie had, and which most of them have not been corrected on the disc, unfortunately, but I'm still so grateful that Universal thought of us to give us Jaws 3D. So I will always be grateful. I will not be an ingrate and go, why didn't you restore it? It doesn't look as good as it did in the theater decades ago. But it's good. And this scene with of Robert Shaw just out there on the bow, just out there. Oh my God, that to me was the scene that really just wow. But it's good 3D. I'm kind of disappointed because I wanted it to be editor's choice.
And I agree. Now, there's a lot of people, I've been surprised that a lot of people are saying this is a great conversion, wonderful 3D, this is the best 3D of the year. It's like, no, this is good. I'm not going to deny that. I absolutely agree with you 100%. There's definitely moments here where I was very happy it was 3D. The issue is that it wasn't really shot to be in 3D. You could convert a old movie into 3D and look beautiful. Terminator 2, a great example of that, and Jurassic Park. Now, those movies were shot in a way that they had the idea there for, okay, they have some deep scenes, they have some interesting camera angles. Now, I feel like Jaws didn't necessarily have those interesting shots, except for the shots, of course, on the boat. And, some shots here and there. But for the most part, the movie is fairly flat in how it's presented. It's always been kind of basic in that cinematography. So, I think they did as good as a job as they probably could, but I still feel like it could have been better. But I mean, there's only so much you could do. And, there's definitely some points where I was really happy. There's a couple of scenes where you have, I guess, the shark's point of view in first person in the water, and you see like them swimming, and you see them kicking, and they're kicking, and then they're kicking popping out of the screen. I was really happy with that. I was like, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah, the underwater stuff was good. Spielberg there were a few shots here and there, like on the dock, because Spielberg would, just the angles he would shoot him at. The thing I was the super most impressed with this presentation was they finally really got the sound down.
Yeah, I mean, the sound is great, but yeah.
Well, because the beginning of the movie, everybody talks over each other. It's complete chaos. And then everybody's talking over, and it's only when they start working together when everybody kind of takes turns speaking. When they're is when they cooperate is when they can take out the shark.
So, other 3D aspects, there's some parts where the camera's near the water and like water will pop out and it looks cool. It definitely feels like you're there, and that works. Like I said, multiple scenes on the boat. The camera angle works really well. And, some parts of the boat are kind of high up, so it works to pop stuff out. And
the first kill kind of has a lot of problems because it's dark. And there was a few scenes where the camera moves too fast and the 3D lost.
Yeah, and I thought, for me, for my viewing, I thought my viewing was perfect. I had, we had a trailer for Avatar 1, and we also had, and that looked beautiful. And I was like, this actually looks better than Avatar 2 trailer. The HDR new revised version looked beautiful. I don't know if you saw it in 3D on your theater.
The theater I saw it at, they did have something in 3D, but the presentation was, like I said, not the best. I mean, they didn't book it in a nice theater.
I feel like my presentation was the best, and I still agree with you that it's still only good. I wish it was better. I wish it was great. Maybe I'm not maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm being too hard of a critic, but I felt like it, it did as good as it could. And I'm very happy that I saw it in 3D. I'm very happy that, it's done. But at the same time, not all camera angles were there to really benefit 3D. If people are just talking, it's not going to really do that much,
Yeah, I also think they could have gone deeper. I mean, prime example of what I thought was probably what I think was the best conversion of the year was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. They really went damn deep in that for a conversion.
And you're not alone. John is not available for this podcast, but he saw it and he agrees with us. He gave it a good 3D, and the movie score, he gives the same score as us, which we'll get to in a minute. But I just wanted to say, I don't hate the 3D. I think the 3D is very good, very enjoyable. It's just there's only so much you could do, so it's not necessarily the ideal movie to convert to 3D, and that's part of it as well. If it's shot in a certain way, you could also, you could benefit. It just depends on the style, depends on the cinematography and the camera angles. But I think for what it was, I was happy with it, and I'm good. I agree with you, so don't feel bad. I agree 100% with you when I saw it. So yeah, I want it to be better, but I think it's just very good, and I'm happy. And it's worth recommending, but it's not amazing like a lot of people say. All right, so that's going to be it for the 3D section. Now, on to the movie itself. So, Jaws is a classic. This is a classic. I don't think anyone could really deny this. I mean, my wife doesn't like it, but most people like Jaws and think it's awesome. And Jaws is a very simple story. It's about a small island town, and there's a shark attack, and they don't want to shut down the beach because it's going to be the 4th of July holiday. And they're like, well, we had this death. We need to stop other deaths from happening. And there's more deaths that happen, and there's that struggle between what do you do? Do you try to get to the people to be safe, or do you try to get them to, do you lose out on a lot of potential money?
And tourist season is usually the only time these small towns make money. That's their income for the entire year, is those 3 months.
Everything here is top notch. The acting is great. The characters are fascinating. I really love how they build tension. And you said this in the review that there's some of the best scoring, if not the best song, by John Williams, and I agree. It works so well for this movie.
It has a great script. It's shot beautifully. And like I said before, it's got 3 jump scares. I don't care how many times you've seen Jaws, those 3 jump scares will get you every time.
Yeah.
They got me Yeah, and I mean, and I've seen Jaws on the big screen over a dozen times.
And the story here, I was a little bit worried about it going in, and I was like, okay, is this going to be dated or anything? No, I think it's 100% holds up.
Anything is more relevant.
Yeah, it's more relevant. I really feel like the dynamic between the characters really grows. And like, you get a real bonding moment when they're singing in the boat and when they're drunk, and it's like, that was genuine. They earned that. And they really, you could see why they like each other and how that grows. And
well, Quint and Hooper never really liked each other, but they came to kind of a truce when they were showing off their scars.
Yeah, and that was a genuine bonding moment that I really liked, and it worked. And I really feel like this movie is a great commentary on humanity itself, on if, the safety and money, and it's just, people want to just attack the mayor, and to a degree, I agree, the mayor is bad, but the mayor does have a point. It's not completely 100% biased. And there's some times when he was talking and I was like, I agree. I don't like it, but at the same time, there's times that he makes points. They're valid.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's changed for me since the last time I saw Jaws and this time was I had developed sympathy for the mayor, because the mayor showed towards his end of his scene, he showed remorse. He thought he was doing the right thing and rolled the dice, and his gamble did not pay off, and was truly sorry.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a modern politician acting that way?
Yeah.
So to me, he seemed more sympathetic. And
the scene when the mother eventually slaps the police chief, that works so well. And that you saw the emotion there. The emotion is there. It's a great sample of humanity there, and it's man against beast, and can man survive? And we survive, but barely.
Yeah. Well, this is the movie that made Spielberg a legend.
And the climax is still exciting and fun, and you still don't, okay, maybe he doesn't survive. But, it's just one of those things where, okay, there is one notable big death here, and there's high stakes, and people are like, oh, the shark looks fake. I think it looks fine. I don't really study sharks.
Anybody who tells you they don't like Jaws because the shark looks fake, just kind of shrug your shoulders and get them out of your life. You don't need that kind of negativity. That's one of the things that makes this movie so glorious. Of course the shark looks fake. If you've ever seen a shark in real life, they look fake. They don't even look real. And Spielberg made it work. In fact, he made it work better than it would have probably worked if the shark actually worked.
It's so exciting. It's still fun. It's still beautifully shot. The dialogue is great. The pandemic right now kind of is really taught us about locking down and closing up and how it affects businesses, and it really resonated and hit again. And I could see that, when the mayor said, yes, I want to open it up. I'm interested in opening it up. I sympathize for the mayor. He does make the wrong decision, but you understand it. And I respect the hell that they actually do have a scientist there, and, he knows what he's talking about, and they do play up the college boy aspect, and it works, and it's fun, and it's still thrilling. It's still exciting, and it's a great depth-based story that if you dive into it, there's a lot to chew over, a lot to debate about. Just love everything about this movie, and it holds up, and I agree with you 100%. This is a 10 out of 10 for me, and I think 10 out of 10 for you, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is one of the greatest movies ever made.
All right, that's going to be it for us. Bye.
Bye.
As this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Mr. Bingo 5, Kevin Winter, Alex Folk, and Gravity Head Zero for your financial support on Patreon.com. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye.